Hi, hi.
Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Better than the last time?
Yeah, perfect. Somebody's got a noisy microphone. Who is it? Frank's mic is off.
Is it me?
Hello.
Maybe. Hi there.
Hello.
Hi, Frank. I can hear you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Angelica.
Hi, Helen. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good. Is Momo doing online just like a Hunsick?
Yep, we started back today. I mean, it's a whole progressive re-entry, you know. People are going back to collect their belongings this week from the college.
Yeah.
Books.
Today. Wow.
Well, yeah, it's very soon. So basically, I've just told my students, you know, the next 2 weeks you can use to do your midterms and enter your link to your assignments whenever you're ready within the next 2 weeks for the midterm speaking. Just, you know,
are you doing all, like, have you guys decided to do all the evaluations or to cut a few?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be cutting some evaluations for sure. Yeah, definitely. How about you? Are you cutting some evaluations out?
We're actually going to meet with, we have a Zoom meeting tomorrow for the 100 level.
Okay.
And as far as the other levels, I think, Nick, is the 101 meeting or is there a 102 meeting?
I don't know, 101. Yeah, I guess so. When should we do it?
Well, I don't teach 101, but I'm waiting before I call a 103 meeting. I get the feeling people are going to do their own thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's at my college. That's probably that's going to happen. Yeah. I don't think that we'll be organizing a meeting and deciding collectively what to cut and what to keep.
How many weeks will the semester run?
We have to, hi Frank.
Hi.
We have to put our grades in by June the 4th.
Ah, which union are you with, by the way? Are you FINEC as well?
FINEC, yes, that's right. Yeah, and I think it's the same for you've until June 12th to put in your grade? Oh.
This is important stuff. We should wait till everybody comes online and share.
Okay.
We shouldn't talk
Starting
right now then.
In 1 minute or 2 minutes while more people come online. Are you going to mute everybody, Nick?
Yeah, I will do as you like. I am here to serve you. Okay, I'm just checking now. 9 participants in the meeting, and I've got 1 person in the waiting room. So I activated something called a waiting room. Oh, there's Priscilla. Hi, Priscilla.
Hi. What's that?
I don't know. It's I'm completely new to this, right? So there was this button that says activate the waiting room. So I figured, okay, try that. Well, now we have a waiting room to this meeting.
Cool.
And
when you activate the waiting room, it means that people can line up in it, and then you let them in one by one?
Means that they can't get in until I say so, which is weird.
Howard.
I was thinking maybe that'd be useful for oral evaluation.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
anyway, I took a screenshot just a minute ago, and I've added it to the PowerPoint, and when Frank gives me the go-ahead, I'll go through my slides. Do you know if Ursula is going to join us, Frank?
She hasn't responded.
Oh, too bad. Because I was hoping she could tell us a little bit about this assouplissement. It sounds very comfortable.
Oh, somebody else just joined, number 11.
There we go. There's Gil. There he is.
Oh, hi,
Carl.
Gil.
Diane Boisvert, and there's Margaret Wells and Carolyn DeVoe, and there's Ali Boumoussa, at least his avatar. And Joy Blake is coming on board. Joy Blake is there. Oh, there she is.
Oh, there's Valerie.
Hi, Joy. Here's Marilyn. Who's going to join us? There's Marilyn. Get my glasses. Can't
Hi,
see.
Marlene. Do you remember me?
Angelica, you need to turn the lights on in there. It's very gothic.
Trying. I actually have really bright light coming in from the curtains,
Oh, yeah?
through the curtains. But I think that's what I have the light on up here. I don't know.
So we're getting there. 4:02.
16.
Well.
Driving mode. There's safe driving mode on this thing.
There's what?
Safe driving mode. When I swipe all the way to the very end to the right, it says your microphone.
Oh.
Oh, Helen.
You just
'Cause I was
swerved off the
driving.
road there, Helen.
I was virtually driving my truck here, and it stopped it for me.
Okay. There we go. Admit all.
20 people.
Alrighty. Another thing that I activated on this is there should be some way of putting like thumbs up and other kinds of emotional icon reactions. Like here, thumbs up. I don't know what effect that had, but I did it.
You can do that when you click on participants, and then in the chat you'll see half the chat box that will be participants, and then you can put your hands up, and then at the bottom you're going to see Zoom group chat.
Oh, I see.
Hello, Carolyn.
Hi. We just
You're
had
going to
a department meeting at 1
Good.
in Saint-Hyacinthe. So I'm
Good.
getting news.
Yeah. The
Good.
thumbs
We
up
have
and
one
the clapping are in the reactions button at the right after the record button. So if you push it, it puts a thumb up or a claps, and it disappears after a while.
Oh,
does it?
nice.
Okay, good.
Nice.
So my
Okay,
approval
20
is conditional.
We're 24
Oh,
people.
there's
It's-
Simona. Hi, Simona.
Nick, we're 24 people, 26 now, 27 coming on.
There's more people coming. So I'll just click and admit everybody. It was a mistake to use this waiting room. It's just a chore now
Oh,
to let everybody in.
28.
Tom Swift is coming on. Frank, I've made you co-host. I think that gives you all kinds of tools at the bottom.
Okay,
There's Johanna.
29. Okay, I set up an agenda in the share document, which you can open in your Zoom announcement that you sent, Nick.
So, okay, so is there some way of like adding it to the chat so we don't have to go searching outside of this app?
Yeah, well, I have it on my other computer, so I'm cheating. Anyway, so we begin by looking at the any questions people may have or that have added to the last set of questions. I don't know if we've answered those. And then we want to look at a report from department meetings. Caroline said that the department met this morning, so a quick a quick exchange summary on what your department, where are you teaching, Caroline?
In Saint-Hyacinthe.
Saint-Hyacinthe. Then I thought we'd go to maybe some of the activities. Caroline, and who wants to share stuff for the 100 level. If there anybody for 101, 102, 103. If not, I could share stuff for some of those levels. Nick wants to talk about becoming a Zoom power user or power Zoom user.
No pressure, right, Frank?
I also have asked the gentleman to come on at 4:30 from a website that I think will be useful. No collusion, there's no affiliation here, but it's called Off the Class, and it has tons of activities, grammar stuff that Chris will talk about for 5 minutes at 4:30. And then I will talk about, just mention creating a quiz in Moodle Zoom recording I just did, a 9.5-minute recording, and I have the link in the shared document. Then any kind of questions, comments, and if we need a next meeting, we can decide on that. Plus, I added in that document a bit of the humor piece, and that's only for Trump fans. So anybody want to check that off offline, they could do that. So any additions to those questions? Should we look at those questions, Nick? Do people have that?
Why don't you share, and that way we can all see what you're looking at.
Perfect. If I share my screen, actually, it's on my other machine. Okay, if I go here to share, and I go here, my desktop, and I go to my calendar, no, debate, C-SHIP, I can't find it. It's on my other.
I can share it for you if you
Yes,
want.
please, Caroline, do that, because I actually opened it on my other machine, so that's not a good idea. I have 2 laptops going here.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
I can make it bigger if I go here. Is this better?
Okay, let me get out of this. Oh, perfect. Okay, I see it. Does everyone else see it?
Yes.
I can see it.
Good. So, Caroline, can you scroll up to the top?
Yep.
Okay, so that first question, how to make transition to online teaching as easy as possible. And my quick response to that is practice a couple of tools and keep on practicing until you get good at it. Like Nick is going to talk a bit about Zoom. People are a bit leery, but that seems to be the go-to place for doing stuff online. It has a wonderful, particularly if you have the professional version that your school, apparently your school can buy 10 licenses for $150. So that might be something to go to. Solving students' technical issues with software at a distance. I don't know, Nick, you're the technical guy. How would you cope with that?
I think one of the settings in the pro version is that actually you can take control of the student's computer if they give you permission, and then you can click around their screen and maybe solve some of those problems. Frank,
excuse me. This is Helen Dickinson from Montmorency. I heard this morning in another meeting that the professional version of Zoom was going to be made available free of charge. I don't know if anyone has heard that as well.
Yeah, we've got it free in Saint-Hyacinthe starting tomorrow.
That's excellent.
There are 2 things maybe we can mention. One is an offer from Zoom. Johanna sent the announcement, and I also saw it through our own college network, that Zoom will offer a pro version to anybody with a education or college email address, free. It takes them between 48 and 72 hours to activate that. And the other thing that I saw is that in my college, and I think other colleges that use Omnivox, will give us the ability to schedule Zoom meetings through Omnivox itself. So that's going to solve a lot of problems, assuming that the college has activated all of the features that I hope to talk about today.
Okay, excellent. Another thing to do, I was looking at the Zoom, they have a wonderful help section, and they have a special section for educators, and there's a 10-page PDF on how to use Zoom. So that's something that you can, I can share I'm not sure if I shared the link to that. I'll do that in this document, a 10-page PDF on how to use Zoom for educators. Next, are you suggesting online classes should be giving at the same time as regular classes? I don't know, we'll maybe mention that in the department comeback afterwards. I don't think it's necessarily to do, maybe, because it ties students into a particular time frame. Is there a free version? We talked about that. I would personally prefer to use technology like Zoom rather than brainstorm solutions. Yes, Nick will be talking about Zoom, and then I can add to it as well. Pass or fail, we could probably get that in feedback from your departments. And so, yes, so why don't we move to point number 2, report on what your department is doing. Caroline, you started by talking about your meeting this morning. Could you give us any juicy rumors about teachers getting paid twice? No?
What for? We've been on holiday for 2 weeks. No, we just met informally, and we had the same concerns as you guys. Like, what are we cutting? And then, do we all agree on cutting the same thing? And then we have an English monitor as well from Alberta, and she's stuck here. She didn't go back home, and so now we were wondering, like, what are we gonna do with her? She's gonna have to go get Zoom through Omnivox, because that we're getting that tomorrow, and then we think she can meet online. But you know, like these, what we do with the monitor here is that 100 and B block and A block students get 5% of their grade with the monitor, and for level 101 we give bonus points up to 5%. So if we're going to have sessions with her. So since I don't think any 100 student is gonna go check her out on Zoom, I've decided to bring all the grades, like oh my God, I'm thinking in French, I'm trying to speak in English. I'm rebalancing my grades, and then to count on 100, and whoever went to see the monitor before will get bonus marks. We give them just percentage. And so, but teachers are wondering, like, okay, how much of my ponderation can I change? And then what's the minimum, what's the maximum? We've got new teachers who don't know, and we answered their questions. So we haven't decided anything official yet. We're also going to look at who's got what, and then our college is just starting to ask us, like, who's got a computer, who doesn't have a computer, do you have internet high speed at home, and then who needs Zoom and whatever. And so I'm surprised, because in Vanier they've already done that, and they start teaching today. In any case, that's what happened in our little meeting. We're meeting again on Friday, because we're going to have news during the week from our union and how we organize ourselves. And then Friday we're going to probably make real decisions.
Good. Anyone else like to share on a department meeting?
I see in the chat, Frank, that Johanna and is it Carolyn are next in line. So let's start with Johanna.
Do you want me to stop the screen sharing and then go back to the photos for now, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So Johanna says, Nick, Frank, I can report on what the department decided in College to Valleyfield. And then Carolyn Gengi, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, says, I can talk about Cégep de Drummondville. I don't know if there's anybody else.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Johanna, can you activate your mic, please? We can't hear you. Oh, hold on, can't hear you. Mute audio. We can't hear you, Johanna. Let's go to Carolyn then, and go back to Johanna afterwards. Is that all right?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Carolyn.
Okay. All right. We haven't actually had information from the department, but we have had a lot of communication from the school. And they have essentially said the students are going to get an equivalency or incomplete is how they're going to treat it. We're right now, we're starting back on a slow scale starting on April 6th. They want us to kind of do a progressive entry where we start to schedule things with students starting on the 6th. We have a lot of flexibility and a lot of leeway from the school. Throughout this week, we're going to be meeting with the department and trying to work our way through it. But that's where our school stands. So the department, we're still not, I don't want to say, we're like ducks, I guess. Really calm on the surface, but pedaling like crazy. So, yeah. So, and also the way you pronounce my last name is Genge.
Genge, all right.
Yeah, I'm so used to it.
It's
So.
a new one.
Right.
Okay, I think Johanna has got her mic on now. Can you speak?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, please share.
Okay, so I see my colleague Julie Anthony is also online. So if you want to correct anything that I say, we are pretty much everybody's up and running this week. We decided that we would meet, those of us who are comfortable with Zoom, we would meet with our students during their class time. It just makes it less just bothersome in case some other teacher wants to meet their student and perhaps take one of my students away during my time. It's just easier for the schedule. We also have a directive from the college that April 9th is the absolute extreme latest time that classes can start. I personally have set Zoom times for all of my classes for roughly an hour, and I just have a few things. There was an article that gave some good tips. For example, I am posting everything on Mondays and asking for them on Sundays. Gives them an entire week. And then when I meet them on Zoom, I'm going to just talk about any questions, do a little teaching, bring everybody up to date, things like that. We also, as a college, decided there would be the equivalency or the incomplet permanent, something like that. And also that the quota, the students have option to not allow the marks from EVA 2020 to count for their quota. We also, as a department, decided together, okay, this is what we're going to cut out. Everybody managed to do two orals, 2 writings, so many quizzes on reading, etc. We agreed that for example, final exam would be worth 35%. We would put the midterm and the final together. We just agreed on percentages and breakdowns, and everybody's pretty much following that.
Okay, thank you, Johanna. I have.
Hello, can you hear me?
Who's speaking?
Yeah, sorry, it's Becky. I was just wondering, Johanna, hello, what CEGEP are you from again?
Collège de Valleyfield.
Okay, thank you.
So, Frank, in the chat, Gil says he can talk about Edouard Montpetit, and Ursula says that she can talk afterwards.
Yeah, hi. College Edouard Montpetit published a new calendar, which basically gave us a couple of weeks of what we call JE days, which are days to get ready, figure ourselves out. And we don't actually begin back until April 16th. And we're going to finish around June the 5th. So we have to figure out how we're going to get the material into all of that. And some of us have contacted the students and told them to get ready and so on. But apparently we're not supposed to do any evaluations until the 16th. After which, everybody should be ready, and we're pretty much free to talk to each other in levels and decide on what and how. The only rules are we need at least 3 more evaluations, none of which are worth more than 50%. And so they're leaving it up to us as levels and teachers to figure out how to make it work. So
Good.
That's where we're at.
Thank you. Was Ursula next, Nick?
Yeah, she's
So I'm speaking for Cégep de Saint-Laurent. We are contacting the students this week, hopefully with the new plan cadre, although we are still waiting for the calendar. but it looks like it might be a slightly shortened semester. Classes, the official formation à distance starts next week. The school has basically followed the recommendations from the ministry in terms of leaving things very, very flexible in terms of the changes that we are able to make. As a department today, we had a 2-hour department meeting that just ended like minutes before this one began. We were able to put together a list of guidelines for our department that we trust each teacher to follow. Basically, we left it very flexible so that the percentage for the midterm could be adjusted, more formative exercises could be given that would count, people could, it basically tries to cover everything from a very low level to a very high level. Our CEGEP wants us to give grades. They are not very interested in the equivalencies unless absolutely necessary, for instance, for a stage or some of the bio labs, which would be case studies and so on. But for our discipline, in our course, in our school, we are all going to be giving, for languages, we're all giving grades by the end of the session. That's it.
Super. Hey, Frank, should we ask Rochelle to share? She's got a slightly different system, and then Helen Cabras can maybe come on afterwards. Rochelle, are you willing to share? No word from Rochelle. How about Helen Cabras from Mary Vic? Hi.
Hi. So just to start, I'm in a car waiting for my cat's vet to get in touch with me, so I might have to cut out. We had a meeting this morning at Marie Victoria. It was decided, and France Côté, who is our adjoint d'études, was in the meeting as well. She said, get the burning plane on the ground, which was basically try to attain some kind of cible d'apprentissage. We broke off into groups, the teachers who were doing the levels, the same levels. We decided amongst ourselves how we would get that burning plane down. We were not given a calendar, and from what I understood, although I think Claude is in this meeting and he's also in my department, there's not going to be any calendar per se formally. We just have to be done by around the 3rd of June. I think the marks will have to be in 10 working days after that. So whatever that works out to. It was decided up to us how we were going to divide the marks. We got rid of our double seuil for the semester. And also she said that all CEGEPs have the ability to give students an incomplete based on the pandemic. And that would be the only excuse that would be necessary for any of the students. So
if the student asks for it, Helen.
Yeah, if any student says pandemic, even right up until the end of the semester, an incomplete can be accorded to the student.
Okay, let's ask Rachel again. I think I called her Rochelle instead of Rachel. Let's see if she'll share.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't realize that my microphone was on mute as well. So at Merici, we've had some news where we've been told that we're starting progressively as of today. There's supposed to be a system going up saying whether our courses are green, ready to go, yellow, starting soon, or red, impossible. But I don't know where that's going, and I haven't seen anything. It was supposed to be there today, so I don't quite understand. We have been told that all online evaluation, etc., has to be complete by, I think it's the end of the first week of June or something. I can't remember the date exactly, because the marks have to be in by the 11th or 12th or something. Again, I can't remember the exact date. But I'm still waiting to hear from the direction, because they sent us information where they said something about we can, if we consider that the students have already attained the competency of the course, we can give them an equivalence. So I've written back saying, does that mean if we feel that the students would pass, we give them an equivalence? Does that mean that it means we have to have tested everything already and we give them an equivalence? Does that mean half the students will get a grade and half the students will get an equivalence? It's completely vague to my mind. So I have written to the direction to ask for clarification on that, but I haven't heard from them yet. So I'm holding my teachers at bay, saying, okay, yeah, do start giving them things, but don't talk too much about equivalences yet, because we're not quite sure what the college actually means by that. So today I myself actually sent a message to all my students. I recorded a video for each group, and I've started putting work in for them, but I'm still waiting to find out a bit more.
Thank you. Good.
I see Becky has something to share, and then maybe we can move ahead with the agenda. What do you think?
Hello. Yeah, I don't have anything really new to share, just to say that we also started today. The teachers are getting like complete freedom to do what they want. Our college does not want to give equivalence. It's they get a mark, and same if students at any time can ask for an incomplete. But that's it. And they also said that if we feel there's some competencies that we cannot test under the circumstances, that we can leave those out of the end evaluation. And off we go. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Nick, has Chris come online yet? Chris Jagasia?
Let me have a quick look here. With a K or a C, do you know?
K.
I don't see him quite yet.
Because he's scheduled to come on at 4:30, and I say we're doing a lot of administrative stuff, which is important, and discussing guidelines to how to proceed. But this is a little bit more about pedagogy. And I invited Chris, again, no collusion, no affiliation here. He's part of a website called Off to Class, and I've worked with Chris Rush in the past, who works also with Off to Class. It's a Canadian company that has hundreds of online activities that may be of use, particularly to lower level students. And I think I put the link into the shared document. Off to Class, the website. You can go there. They have reading, listening, writing activities, and it's a paid site. But the college should probably be able to cover the expense on a license for this thing, because it can really give teachers a break. Instead of having to do a lot of stuff themselves, they can. Yeah, if you go there and click on Off to Class. Off to Class.
I think I'm trying to click, but. Wait a second.
Open?
No, maybe because I'm in screen sharing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, there's the link, and his name is Chris. He's supposed to come on at 4:30. They're very busy because obviously they were being bombarded with people interested in using their online access to materials, listening material. They have a diagnostic test. I wanted to recommend it to Cégep Saint Laurent for the what they call the
help center.
Help center for lower level students. So we got 4:29. So if the gentleman will be on in a minute, and then we'll get. Well, I only gave him 5 minutes, so that's all he has, and then we'll get Caroline to share some activities for the 100 level. Is there anybody else that wants to share something for 101 or 102 or 103? That would be helpful. If not, I can share stuff. I can mention stuff that I've done.
Frank, just before you start, I was just wondering that Off to Class site. Do you know, you said you have to pay. Does that, can like a Cégep pay, and then the students that access the site don't have to pay? Is it a membership like for Cégep?
Yeah, well, Chris will explain the guidelines on this, but a school would buy a license and the students would become part of a class. And they would there it is, the ESL teacher kit. If you click on teacher, click on lesson library, They have, look, step-by-step curriculum, beginner, elementary, pre-intermediate, advanced, writing, reading, listening, tons. So to answer your question, is the student would be part of a class that you could set up as the teacher and assign tons of stuff for them through this site. Amazing. So it's really quite amazing. Is he on yet, Chris? Because we want to move on and
he's online now.
Okay, so can you pass it on to him?
I don't know where he is.
Hi,
somewhere.
I'm here.
There he is.
Hi,
Oh, Chris.
Nicholas. Hi, Frank.
Chris.
How are you?
We've already introduced you a bit. Tell us a little bit how this can help teachers in this time of emergency.
Okay, thanks for inviting me here today. My name is Chris Chigazia. So what I'll do is I'll just give you a brief overview here. I'm one of the founders. I'm the CEO of Off to Class. We have been working with online teachers, online schools for many years. We also work with a lot of bricks and mortar schools. So everything from K-12 schools to higher ed. I know the CEGEP system. I actually used to live in Montreal. So, you know, if you think that you guys bridge kind of high school, to traditional high school to college, we work with both systems. So intensive English programs in the US, and as well as K-12 districts in the US, and lots of private schools here in Canada. Basically, what to think of us as is a combination of three things. So live synchronous materials that are designed to be taught in a live setting between teachers and their students, as well as a self-study platform. So where students would log in asynchronously and take activities and homework assignments that have been assigned by a teacher, and then those assignments would be submitted back to the teacher, and as well as a placement test that forms a good starting point where you can kind of track or you can identify different lessons from the library that might be suitable for your students. And all three of these tools can be used online. So in a distance learning environment where you're not physically with your students, and can also be used in the classroom, but that's probably a discussion for next year. The important point to point out is that this is a teacher-directed platform. So it's not like a Duolingo where students just go and sign up and have fun on their own. It's very much designed for language teaching, which of course is a teacher-directed activity. So there's nowhere for students to go sign up on their own. So everything is controlled by the teacher or the institution. So in the simplest sense, I'm logged into my teacher account, and you'll see right here, I have a button, the student management, and these are all the students that are registered to my account. I've added them all myself. So as the teacher, I've gone and said, okay, I want to add a student to my account. I use an email address. I even define the password for them. And then I would deliver that to my students. So as far as the logistics of setting up students and all that type of stuff, we could get into that later, just depending on what the need was. But just in the back of your mind, just keep in mind that this is a teacher-directed platform. So you as the teacher are what we've designed this for, and you would direct your students to use the platform as you best see fit. And so coming back to those three tools, you've got live synchronous lesson material, asynchronous student self-study, and the placement test. I'm going to focus right now on the live synchronous lessons. So,
Chris, we don't have time. Sorry,
Oh,
you only have we only have time. Let me ask you if teachers have any questions, can they write to Chris Rush? I know you're a busy guy at the top of the ladder there. If teachers had questions, because we have to move on to other stuff, can
Sure.
they can they send their questions to me, and then I can transfer them to Chris Rush?
Yeah, well, they can do that. They can go to offclass.com and set up trial accounts. That's easy to do. So I'm just going to log out of this and just show you. So yeah, you can set up a trial account for OffClass right here. Usually, if this was, if there was need across the different colleges, we would try to coordinate this process with someone. I'm not sure how that sits, like if there's a ESL coordinator across all colleges or within any college or what have you. But yeah, for now you can go set up an account. And we were running weekly training sessions. They're at 12 p.m. EST every Monday. So even just by setting up a trial account, you'll be invited to that session. And when you're in your account, please do. You'll also be directed to video tutorials on how to use the system. The two quickest tutorials to get you teaching lessons would be video 6. We integrate with any video conferencing systems, so that will show you how to link, for example, your Zoom account to OffClass, and video 7 would show you how to teach a lesson. So that would be the easiest thing, but by setting up a trial, you'll be exposed to these training videos and you'll be invited to the next webinar where we can answer all your questions.
Fantastic,
That's
Chris.
the easiest way.
Sorry, Frank.
Yes.
I was just wondering, can you just quickly give us an idea of price range, like say for a college to have a license, or just some?
Yeah. So so there's two things. So you can, like, individual teacher accounts can be bought right off the website here, and it just really depends on how much student capacity you have. But for like an entire college, usually we'd set up a kind of enterprise system where you've got different teachers under one umbrella account. You can move the students between teachers, download reporting and all that type of stuff. Those usually run in the $20 per student seat per year range and $70 per teacher per year. And for any like kind of inquiries like that for a college, you can actually just press this button here and someone will specifically get in contact with you there. But the pricing page will give you an idea of like individual teacher accounts as well as school accounts.
Great.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Any other questions, please? We have to move on. We have a lot of other stuff to cover. Thank you.
Okay.
Chris, any questions? Put them in the document and then I will send them on to Chris Rush. Thank you, Chris.
Okay,
Appreciate
fantastic.
it.
Bye, Frank.
Bye. Okay, so next is materials. Carolyn, you've got Carolyn DeVoe has some stuff. Yes, Nick?
Shall I just go through the Zoom quickly? We're losing people, it seems. We're lost about 5 people.
Yep, that would be good. I would like that, Nick, because I can't stay too much longer, but I really wanted to hear your Zoom stuff. I don't know if
it's recorded. It's recorded, so there's not a problem. And
oh, okay. But still, I like to.
Yeah, but Carolyn is next on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I can wait. It's okay.
Find some materials.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, I didn't have the agenda in front of me. Sorry. Go ahead with the agenda.
Carolyn, you want to say a few words?
Well, just a few words. I'm trying to do my listening test on Kahoot. And I'm still trying to work with the challenge. There's a new feature that's called challenge. Instead of the game that is timed, you can do challenges on Kahoot now, and they've extended their the format. I think you can get a premium account or something like this for free or for the time of the coronavirus. So, but I wanted to share maybe just like, as I listen to you guys talking about your departments, I've written to my students already. I sent them a MEO, and this is my calendar. Just gonna share that. Here you go. So, and then again, I talk with Vanier a lot because I'm on a project with Philippe Gagné, and over there, what they've said is that when you contact the students, tell them what's been done, what's left to do, and how you're going to do it, and give them a schedule. So I wrote what has been done. I had not marked much, so I don't think I could give any equivalence to anyone. Everybody, well, a lot of them would fail. So then I go with marks, and then here, by the way, we do talk about equivalencies as well. And then I think we're gonna like let people free of doing their own thing. Maybe not by level, but like, you know, people will decide by level actually if they give equivalence or not. But anyway, we'll see. So yeah, I'm doing 3 weeks of teaching. 2 times we're going to meet on Zoom and talking about platforms like the gentleman just talked about. I'm using ESL Library. ESL Library offers a lot of readings, some listenings, grammar units that you can pick and choose. And they've turned digital the beginning of the year, I think. And now I can give activities that they do online and give them the package on Leia. So that's what I do. I give them the PDF for the grammar parts, and then I give little points here and there, like to talk about comparatives and superlatives, and they do that by themselves. And then I see their results and I give them the points so I can follow up. It's a little bit like a platform, just like one of those Pearson platform, whatever, but it doesn't come with the book, it's online.
Did you send the link, put the link, Carolyn, in the shared document?
Yeah, yeah, and I can even put it in the chat if you want. So there's ESL Library, they do some of that stuff. Then we're gonna meet 2 times, and then whatever I give for homework in the ESL Library, then we talk about in for about an hour on April the 13th, 1 hour on April the 20th. Next week, we were supposed to have speakings, and I had sent a schedule 2 weeks ago, but nobody did it because it was not obligatory. Now it is, and I just sent them the same schedule with different Zoom meetings. And then at the end, I'm going to have another final, well, the final speaking as such. And the final writing, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And I wonder if I'm not going to do like a Zoom session where everybody is there and I watch them write. But I don't know. That sounds a bit like Big Brother. Like
Yeah, we're all Big Brother. Yeah, Big Sister.
Yeah, exactly.
One more point, and then we want to move on to Nick.
That's it. So if you want to try Kahoot and try the challenge part, then I suggest it's a good thing because they do it all at the same time. I mean, you don't want to have the game where they stress, but you want to have questions where they can all answer at the same time. And for a listening test, it might not be the best idea because they have to listen twice. But anyway, like I think you can do stuff with Kahoot if you want to check on if they answer all at the same time, because after that, the session is gone, you know? So it's a time thing. That's
Excellent,
it.
thank you. Carolyn, can we move on to Nick? Nick, I know, has prepared stuff on Zoom, which seems to be the sort of the go-to place now for most teachers.
All right, so I'll share my screen if I can. Here it is. And I'll launch, there we go. Come on. And I'll launch my PowerPoint. There we go. All right, so I'm not a Zoom expert, but I've been using it a fair bit the past week or so. And so I want to just show you a few features that I've discovered. First of all, you can make it so that you can go into the settings on Zoom .us, I believe, and it redirects you to zoom.com once you're logged in. And then one of the settings is to set it so that the system records your video immediately upon starting the meeting. That may be a good idea if you're likely to forget to start the recording once the students have arrived. So it's in the settings. You have to make sure you click on the recording tab, and then there it is, automatic recording. You can record to your local computer or to the cloud. The next thing is to talk about virtual backgrounds. You can see in my background, you know, my messy books and that sort of thing. But if you want to make it a little bit more professional, you can add a background and a beauty filter, believe it or not. You have to go to the bottom of your screen where it says video, click on the up arrow, and yeah, it's right here. and you can see it says video settings or choose a virtual background. Video settings will do both. When you click on the video settings, the virtual background tab is on the left. And you can add an image, which is to upload an image from your computer and then select it, and then it puts it in behind you. And this is without any kind of green screen. For the video, if you click on the video tab, you'll notice that one of the checkboxes says touch up my appearance, and that just puts a kind of like soft filter on your face and maybe makes it feel a little bit less.
You need that, Nick.
Gosh, I need 2 of them. And the next thing is the share screen. Now this is important because I learned this. I'll be giving a presentation to the Vitrine VTE on Wednesday, and we were struggling terribly to get our computer sounds to play to the other people in the group in our rehearsal, and we discovered why. So when you select share, you have to make sure down here in the bottom left, I guess, it says share computer sound. You must fill these boxes, otherwise the students can't hear what your computer sound card is generating. Now, this seems to me a way to broadcast a listening test at a distance. Seems like a good idea. And you can see another one of the checkboxes is optimized for a full screen video clip, so you can show a film, Netflix, YouTube, that sort of thing. So this is handy, and I hope that helps. Another thing that I discovered is that if you click on the Advanced tab, you have something called Content from a Second Camera, and I looked on Amazon.ca, and you can get one of these little side cameras where you could put the textbook out and flip pages for the students. This seems to me maybe a little bit, well, it's $200. It's a little early for me to start laying out $200, but it's an interesting option come September. You can set the system so that you can have a co-host, and you can also set a poll. This is useful if you want students to answer some questions, let's say about preferences or other things, but you must activate it in the settings menu on the website. And I'm stuck for some reason, and I don't know why. Okay, yeah, so when you have polls activated, you'll see on the toolbar down at the bottom, this is only possible for scheduled meetings, so you have to schedule the meeting beforehand. You have a button that says poll, you click on it, and you get this box that comes up, add a question, and then it takes you to the website, and then you have to fill in the form on the website. Now, we discovered that you only have room for 10 alternative answers. We wanted to add 15 today, and it didn't work, so we're going to have to switch to a different platform. But anyway, the point is the poll allows for 10 different choices. Breakout rooms seem to be an interesting choice for getting students to do some practice. You have to activate it in your pro account. I don't know if your college will activate it by default. I hope so. And just moving ahead here. Yes, there it is. You have to allow the host to assign participants to breakout rooms when scheduling. You can do it in advance. And this is what the breakout rooms look like. You see all, in this case, it was a department meeting. We got all our department members into different rooms, and we tested it out. I've blurred out their faces. Last thing, attention tracking. Sometimes we wonder if students are paying attention. Well, it turns out the host can check to see if you're on the same page or if you've switched to a different tab on your browser and you're secretly watching YouTube instead of listening to the lecture. This apparently will let you know. There's a waiting room, which I activated for this meeting. It seems to be a bit of a drag because I have to let people in one by one, and it's a constant distraction. But it seems like it could be useful in the future if I have, let's say, oral evaluations lined up. I could do one at a time and keep everybody in a waiting room until I'm ready to evaluate them. And finally, to share files, it's really easy. You click on the chat button, and then you'll see that you can share with everyone, and then there is a button that says File. You click on it, and you can share your slides or whatever document you have, your evaluation grid. which is what I'll do now. Next, you have to download it before the meeting is over. It doesn't download with the chat thread, it seems. And
I've just shared the file, Nick. It's prise en main de Zoom. It's a short version of probably what you're going to send.
okay, well, I'm just going to send these slides. And that's it, I'm done. And I'll stop sharing and I'll send the slides to everyone.
Okay, I have a couple of comments. Very, very nice, Nick. In the breakout room, teachers can circulate and go into a breakout room and watch what the students are doing.
That's right.
So that's a good point. I practiced today with recording in Zoom. It's very easy to record. Obviously, you have to follow good recording principles of having proper lighting, having proper sound, having a proper background. You don't want to be sitting, as many of you are, in front of a window. So you've got to have proper recording, use proper recording techniques. And it's very easy to save your recording very quickly. It's sent to you in MP4. And I discovered also that you can have a tape script, you could have an audio script of what you've said in your recording, which may be useful for students to read, but it's time-stamped. So let's say at the 10-second mark, you'd have this, what you're saying in your video. So that's really useful. So it's very easy to record in Zoom. And in fact, if I just may say, I did record you could see it in the agenda in the under creating a quiz in Moodle. I recorded this morning, first time I've worked with recording in Zoom, and I recorded a 9.5-minute session. And you can, of course, share your screen, put up, as you just did, you could record your session by putting up your slides, by adding other material in Zoom, and then saving it straight away to MP4. Nick.
Well, Gil has a question, so let's have Gil.
Yeah, hi. I was practicing this morning with a colleague. I tried to play a video, one, I was downloading it from a cloud and apparently cut out for the other person on the other side. And then I downloaded it down to my computer and I played it again, and she got to see it very clearly when it was off, but the minute I'd play and it started to move, she said that her quality started to fade. And I'm wondering if that's a problem or if that's just based on Wi-Fi or what kind of computer you have. That's something we might want to think about when we do that. I mean, we had no problem with the PowerPoint here, but if you played a video off YouTube, you might not get good quality. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's an issue. You need good bandwidth to do those things, and you need to practice. You need to practice this. You can't just start up a class immediately without actually practicing. So I congratulate you for practicing with this.
Yeah, because imagine, if some of the students weren't seeing what the others were, you'd really have a problem on your hands.
Yeah. But a point about recording, when you record it, you have the option of recording to the cloud or recording to your local computer and saving it on your hard drive as an MP4. And I think I prefer that rather than you can do it in the cloud. And then you actually see in Zoom, you have a listing. It's really well done. You have a listing of the recording that you've done in Zoom with the date, and you can track that very easily.
I guess I could always send the video to everybody and they could watch it independently. But I mean, if you're doing a class and you want everybody to see the same thing, like a listening class, it might be a problem.
Exactly. Any other questions about Zoom that Nick can handle or I can handle at the moment?
I had a question.
Joy?
Really quick one. The other day I was playing with Zoom, and so I was missing my friends. We decided to have a social hour with Zoom, and but everyone had to download it. Is that do students have to do that as well, or?
Excuse me, if I may answer that. I was talking to a close colleague of mine who uses Zoom professionally, but he used it also socially, and he said they have to sign in. You absolutely have to sign in, because he said there's some really nasty people out there putting porno stuff in Zoom that if you just go in without signing in, you might get this on your social connection. So to answer your question, students should probably sign up for an account in Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
And if your school has a license, they'll be signed in with you as the license, as a member of the school.
Okay, good.
So Carolyn
Anything
has a
else?
question, Frank.
Yes?
Actually, it's not a question, but do any one of you use Screencast-O-Matic? Because I just sent the instructions on how to sign up for ESL Library for my students. They sign up themselves. And I put that on YouTube. But Screencast-O-Matic, that really does the job for you. It's really nice. And also speaking PowerPoints. But I mean, this is not something that the unions want us to use like at large. I guess people in TELUC also have ethical questions about like just us throwing our stuff online doesn't make us online teachers. But
Okay, that's a very
for now, we have to deal with the situation, and then ethics will come later when we have time to reflect.
No, that's a very good point, Carolina. But the question of privacy, do students want their pictures taken? They might use an avatar instead of their own picture, because students are getting very leery about being seen on even Facebook and Twitter, or not Twitter, but Facebook and Instagram. They don't want themselves to be seen. So that's something to consider.
All right. So Carolyn Genge had a question.
Yeah, just a quick question. I'm actually using the mobile app on my phone right now, and it seems that there are different different settings that aren't on or are just different from the lap or the computer version. So that should also be considered. I suspect if students are going to be using Zoom, some of them might be sitting in their car waiting to hear, go into work or whatever. And so we might want to play around with that a little bit. Do you know anything about the mobile version versus the desktop?
Just that there are fewer options, and it's handy for joining a meeting, but not so great for setting them up. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to be aware of the different kinds of levels of Zoom. There's, of course, the school would be, if there's a license, the school would be the owner, and there would be an administrator, and then you would be a member of the school, and a student would be in your particular application. So you've got to be really careful about what level you're using. And if you can get a pro version, as Nick has, it gives you many more functionalities than a free version.
So Maria has a question, and I think Rachel has something. So let's start with Maria.
Yeah, hi. I just had a quick question. Hi, I just had a quick question about Zoom. You mentioned that we could track attention. I've been using Zoom, and I still haven't been able. Does it mean you have to get a certain kind of an account to be able to get that feature?
Well, there's the Pro account where you pay $20 a month. It may be available through your college. I know the corporate account has all the features. The question is whether they've enabled it. And the reason I paid the $20 each month, or the first month, is just so that I could have access and not have to wait, right? Because our college is going to make it available through Omnivox like tomorrow. Well, we have to get online much sooner than that. So I just figured I'd, shell out.
So the one you've got is the Pro account. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, $20.
And that's got attention tracking. Okay, thanks.
But we're hoping, Martin, that the school will pay for this. I mean, they'll pay for a license for teachers, as they would for Off the Class or any of these other applications that require a license. Screencast does not. Screencast is totally free. You don't have to download anything, and it's just marvelous. So that's a real good freebie.
Okay, quick comment here. Becky is looking for a way to share a file. Now I am able to, through the chat module, click on chat, and then down at the bottom of the chat box, there is actually a little tiny icon and it says file next to it. Does everybody else have access to this? Or is it just me? I think everybody's got it. Everybody. So
you should share the screen and show it. I think you can.
I don't have it.
Okay.
On a mobile app, I don't have it.
So this is another one of the features. If you have to actually activate whether the Zoom windows and features would be visible when you share the screen. Because when you share the screen, you're sharing everything except the Zoom itself. So that's something I haven't activated yet. I thought it would be in the way. So I can't show you unless I take a screenshot and upload it. which I suppose I could. I mean, here.
Nick, oh,
Yes.
sorry, I'm just wondering, my ruler, maybe my ruler's just hiding it, but I don't have that either. Do you think it's a pro feature of the pro version? Or?
I don't know.
Okay, but others have it, right? That aren't on the pro version, so.
That's right. It's not on the pro. It's on the regular one.
Oh, is it? Okay, so I just
Yeah.
probably have to move my
I have
ruler.
it.
I just don't see it when I.
Okay,
press
let me just
At the bottom of the
share my screen here, and I'll see if I can show it to you. So I've taken a screenshot here, and I'll just move that out of the way, and it should be right here. What can I use to highlight it? Tools, drawing. I need a box, big red box. There we go. So it should be right here. Can you see that? Everybody should be able to see that now. It says file. It's in the chat head to everyone, and there's a little file icon. Anyway, seems to be available to me.
Okay, the other option is to share a file in the shared document. We could link in, and everybody would have it in that document, and it would be a good location to save things. Rather than having to go into the Zoom chat, open that up, but do it in the shared file. Anybody want to talk? Anybody want to share stuff or?
Yes, can I jump in?
101, Rachel, is this Rachel?
No, sorry. Yes, it is, Rachel, but it's not about 101. It's to go with that file thing. I can only see it when the chat box is open. Sometimes when people are sharing things, I'm getting a full screen and I can't see the chat box. So I have to open the chat box to see the file, just to let some people know.
I gotcha, thanks. It worked, yeah. I see it now.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention to people, I'm sorry I'm going slightly off the topic, but I think it's important to mention too, we keep talking about Zoom and how to do synchronous teaching, but one of the things I'm trying to move away from is synchronous teaching because some of my students are also parents. It's not necessarily easy for them to definitely be available at certain times. And somebody was talking about how to do timed written exams and things like that. Don't forget that Omnivox is still very useful, and in Leia there is the possibility in Travaux to put in an assignment which is open only from a certain time to a certain time, so you can put all the information of what they have to do, and they have to upload what they've done before the time runs out. So that is something which some people might consider when they're doing their written exams, especially, and maybe other exams as well, in order to have a time limit where people have to be available. For me, what I'm going to do is to do some kind of doodle survey first to see when students are available and make sure I pick a time when everybody is available at the same time. But that might not be possible for everyone, obviously, if you have 40 students in a class.
Very hard.
At Marie-Victorin, if I may jump in, we are not using Zoom, and we were told not to use anything that is different from, what is already available in LEA. But we were told, do not ask students to be online with you synchronously, because what could happen is that they have only one computer in their house. There are parents that are working on the computer at the same time. You might be able to use it only between like 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. or something like that. So they said if you put an assignment online, make sure that it is available for at least 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you.
Can I say something? They may not have a computer, but Zoom works on phones, and they all seem to have phones.
Yeah.
So they could communicate with you on their phone and then do the work on computer later, I imagine.
Yeah, but our CJIP also said, do not use other elements, Zoom or things like that, because we want to keep it simple. You should use LEA, you should use Neo, you should use something that they are familiar with, and nothing new, even though it's absolutely fantastic and good. Keep it aside for another time.
Claude, that's an excellent point. Neo is a great email messenger service that all students have on their mobile. So you could send assignments and notifications and and so on through Mio. So that's excellent.
I think Becky has something to say.
Yeah, nothing big. I just wanted to add to what Rachel said about yeah, the option there. That's what we're using a lot. On Leia, it's the travaux énoncés, remise de travaux. And also teachers are combining that with students that want to, that may have questions, a Zoom meeting with the class just before posting the exam in case any students have questions about it. Or so yeah, a little Zoom session 5-10 minutes before, then the set time, and then students hand in their work before the time. That's it.
Okay.
It's the same also, sorry Frank, for speaking. We're going to have students record on the technology of their choice, you know, the PowerPoint, audio, Screencast-O-Matic, they choose. And then they just post their file to us on Leia through the remise de travaux.
I should maybe mention that Moodle offers you to schedule writing assignments and exams and other things. So Moodle might be another tool worth exploring, but certainly Omnivox Leia has the same sort of features available.
Yeah, no, it's 5:06. How long are we carrying on, Nick? People are leaving. There's 29, 28. So
I think we've done well. Maybe you can suggest another meeting in the future and invite somebody else to host if they want to join in.
This seems to be rather urgent. Today's Monday. Should we hold something earlier than later? Let's say Wednesday or Thursday?
So Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a presentation with the Vitrine. It's at 1 o'clock.
Now, wait a minute. Is that an April Fool's joke, Nick?
No, I'm the April Fool, and I'll be presenting about automated written feedback using artificial intelligence. And there's another presenter called Suhelia who will be talking about using Alexa, an artificial agent for oral practice in the classroom. It looks like it could be an interesting talk, and we've got people from all over the world joining us for this talk on Wednesday, April 1st at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Fantastic. Let's do it on Thursday. Are people available on Thursday at 4 o'clock to have an update on what you're doing and perhaps focus a little bit more on the pedagogical side, what we can do, kinds of activities, and so to share with each other?
May I speak? Can you hear me? I'm Marlene Palavanian from Cégep André Laurando. My question is, you were talking about having access to Zoom Pro for free with our Cégep email. How do I go about doing that? Do I ask our IT people, or do I ask Zoom people? How do I do that?
I think the way to do it, as I understood the message, is you go onto Zoom, and when it asks you to create an account, you use your college email address. And I'm not sure, there may be some way to signal to them, or it may be that your email address is on like is detected as being a college address, and then they'll set you up with the pro account.
Okay, and you also said that you'd have access you'd be able to use Zoom, Omnivox with Zoom. Is that just your college?
Well, I know it's more than one college. I know our college is doing that. It seems that Omnivox has created a plugin for Zoom.
Oh, I see.
And our college, it seems, has bought a license.
Okay.
So this is an Omnivox thing, but I don't know if every college has is going to be using the plugin or
not. No, we're using Teams. We're using Teams, and I find it more complicated than Zoom. That's why I'm looking into Zoom. Yeah.
Vic, I can't see chat, but some people added stuff about Zoom. Karina did, and someone else. Can you
look
check
at this.
that?
Julie Anthony says to everyone, I signed up to Zoom with my college email, and they've taken off the 40-minute limit with this. I do not have a need for Pro. Exactly, because it gives you the Pro account. So that's great. Great news. Thank you for sharing, Julie Anthony.
And Karina added something as well.
I asked my Cégep, and they said only administration can have that. From Cégep de Saint-Laurent, have the Pro version. That's frustrating.
Yeah, different different rules for different people. Listen, it's 5:10. I know people want to go out, maybe take a walk or do something else or take a break, or let's schedule a meeting for Thursday at 4 o'clock.
We have a department meeting at a Hunsick College on Thursday at 4 o'clock. So I mean, from 2 until 4. I don't know if we'll be done by 4, so I might miss it, but it works for me.
We could do 1 o'clock. The people, we should have a poll. Get the poll going.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to add my email address to the chat thread, and I encourage other people to do that, and that way we can keep in touch, right?
Yeah, and that shared document I think is useful for everyone. If you have activities, put them in that shared document so we can save time in talking. We could have them in the document, Caroline. You could put in your connection to, what is it, ESL teaching, and we already have a link to off the class, and I put something in on creating a quiz in Moodle so we can link to materials and discuss their usefulness and functionality with the group. So we'll decide on something for Thursday. Sounds
Can I
good?
ask a question quickly? How do I get this chat box open again after the session is finished?
We can attach it, so it'll download to my computer, and I can attach it to the Facebook page or send it out by email.
Email is better, not on
Email,
Facebook.
I'm happy to do that.
Good.
And here's the talk on artificial intelligence in corrective feedback on Wednesday. I'm adding it to the chat thread.
You mentioned a Facebook page. Which page are you referring to?
So there's CEGEP ESL. Joy Blake set up a Facebook page years ago, and we've been using that to communicate. CEGEP ESL on Facebook.
Okay, we'll wrap up. We want to thank
ESL teachers, I'm sorry.
CEGEP teachers. So we're going to wrap up. It's 5:11, and we'll get back to you for the next meeting on Thursday. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Frank. Thanks for hosting.
Okay, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll just
leave the meeting. Goodbye.
Thanks, Nick. I was about to say thanks, Frank, as well, but he seems to have gone.
He's gone. Okay, he wants fresh air. I'm adding the Facebook page.
Nick, can I just mention something to you quickly? I didn't get the email to sign in. I presume it was sent today, but if it was sent today, it probably went into my spam, which will be released tomorrow. So I actually managed to get Ursula to send me the code so I could get into the meeting.
Oh, we've got to find another way of making sure it gets out there. If I send to 50 people, it's going to detect it as spam, right?
Yeah, well, it may be if you send it at least 24 hours in advance. I know that's making things difficult, but at least people's spam is usually let go.
There's a 10-day sort of hostage taking.
Well, I think mine is a 24-hour thing. Usually I get the next day. So I had the same problem with a meeting earlier on today as well.
Okay, well, I'll try again. I can always try from my college email address, which is unlikely to generate the spam alert. My wife is waving to me. Why don't you come over here and say hello, Helen? This is Helen.
Hello.
Hello, Helen. Nice to meet you.
Rachel. Yeah, I'm just preparing dinner and
I have to
I'd like some help.
I have to help.
Oh yes, well you're welcome to help. I was actually busy eating some popcorn, but
I hope that's not your dinner.
No, it's not my dinner. Don't worry, that will come later on. This is my 4 heures.
Oh, I see. Very good. Hey, we should have a cocktail hour at some point.
We should. That would be fun.
Bring your own bottle, of course.
Of course, yes. Okay, guys, have a great evening, and thanks again for everything you're doing.
I'm trying.
It's very trying, Nick. You
very trying. That's right. These are fast. Bye-bye.
Bye.